Welcome back to CoinQuest. Today, we are diving deep into a fascinating coin that many people overlook, the 1970 Lincoln 1-cent penny. You might have some sitting in your pocket right now, or maybe hidden away in a jar, but what you might not realize is that this little penny could be worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. First, let's talk about the history. The Lincoln cent first appeared way back in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was a big deal because it was the first time a real person appeared on a regular issue American coin. Before that, our coins mostly had images of Lady Liberty or symbolic designs. The Lincoln penny was designed by Victor David Brenner, and it featured Lincoln's famous profile on the obverse, or front of the coin, and 2 wheat ears on the reverse, or back, hence the nickname wheat penny. Fast forward to 1959, the reverse design changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design would stick around for the next 50 years. Now coming to 1970, by then, the Lincoln Memorial reverse had been in use for about 11 years, and the mint had gotten really good at mass-producing coins. However, mistakes and variations still happened, and that's where things get really interesting for collectors. The 1970 penny was struck at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and the San Francisco mint coins, the ones with the little S mint mark, are the ones you really want to pay attention to because some of these have incredible value, especially the rare variety called the 1970s small date penny. Now, you might be wondering, what is a small date? Basically, the date on the coin was punched into the die manually back then, so sometimes the numbers ended up looking smaller than usual compared to others. If you have a 1970s small date penny in high grade, meaning it is still very shiny, crisp, and free of major scratches, you could be holding onto a small fortune. No joke, collectors are willing to pay hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars for a pristine example of the 1970s small date penny. For example, one in nearly perfect condition sold at auction for over $3,000. That's right, a penny you could find in your change jar could be worth 1,000 times its face value. But wait, it gets even better. There is also a double die version of the 1970s small date penny. Double die means the coin was struck twice by the die, but slightly misaligned, creating a sort of shadow or doubling effect, most noticeable on the date and the word Liberty. And trust me, collectors go crazy for double die coins. If you find a 1970s small date double die in top condition, you could be looking at $5,000, $10,000, or even more depending on the grade. Now let's talk about what to look for so you can spot one of these valuable pennies. First, check the date. If the 7 is level with a 0, it might be the large date. You want the 7 to be high, and the tops of the numbers should look pretty even across the top. Another trick, look at the word Liberty. If it looks a little mushy or weakly struck, that is another sign you might have the rare small date version. And if you are lucky enough to see doubling, especially in the date or the letters, you are definitely in business. Condition matters a lot when it comes to value. If your penny is beat up, scratched, worn down, it might still be worth something, but serious collectors are looking for high-grade examples, coins that have that original mint luster, shiny, almost like brand new. If your penny looks really good, it might be worth getting it professionally graded by companies like PCGS or NGC. It does cost a little money to grade a coin, but if it turns out to be a valuable variety, it is totally worth it. Right now, in today's market, as of 2025, a regular 1970 penny in circulated condition is worth about 1 cent to maybe 5 cents. Nothing crazy, but a certified high-grade 1970s small date penny can fetch between $500 and $1,500 depending on its condition. If it is the double die version, you could easily be looking at over $3,000 or more. And that's just the current market, with coin collecting getting more popular every year. Who knows how high prices could climb in the future? It's amazing to think that a tiny little penny struck more than 50 years ago could be worth so much today, but it all comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. If you want to find one of these valuable coins, check your old coin jars, check your parents' or grandparents' collections, or even go through rolls of pennies from the bank. Sometimes people find rare pennies just by searching through ordinary change. And remember, if you think you have a 1970s small date penny or a double die, do not clean it. Cleaning a coin can actually lower its value. Collectors prefer coins in original untouched condition, even if they are a little dirty. Natural aging is better than cleaning in the eyes of serious buyers. Before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap. The 1970 penny is important because of the small date and double die varieties. The small date has a higher 7 in the date and a weaker looking Liberty. The rarest and most valuable version is the 1970s small date double die, especially in mint condition. These pennies can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars today, so go check your change. You might be sitting on a hidden treasure. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you learned something new, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more coin collecting tips and rare coin discoveries. Leave a comment down below if you have found a rare penny, or if you have any questions. I would love to hear your stories. And until next time, happy hunting and good luck, where we dive deep into the world of coins, collectibles, and hidden treasures you might have sitting right inside your pocket change. Today we have an exciting episode lined up for you. We are going to explore one special coin that many people overlook, but which might actually be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. That coin is the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent penny. By the end of this video, you will know everything about its history, what makes it special, and how much it could be worth today. Make sure to watch till the end, because you might be surprised by what you find out. The history. First, let us take a step back into history. The Lincoln penny has been in circulation since 1909. It was first minted to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Before the Lincoln cent came the Indian head cent, but in 1909 the United States Mint made a major shift by honoring a real historical figure for the first time on regular circulating currency. That person was none other than President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Fast forward to 1977. America was celebrating its 201st year since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and pop culture was booming. Star Wars had just been released and disco was alive and thriving. During this time, the Lincoln Memorial design created by Frank Gasparo was still proudly featured on the reverse side of the penny. The front or obverse side carried the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, originally sculpted by Victor David Brenner. The details. The 1977 Lincoln cent was made from 95% copper and 5% zinc. This is important because copper pennies have a higher intrinsic metal value compared to modern pennies, which are mostly made of zinc with only a thin copper coating. Each 1977 penny weighs about 3.11 grams and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. The Philadelphia Mint produced around 4.4 billion pennies in 1977 without a mint mark. Meanwhile, the Denver Mint produced over 4.2 billion pennies identified with a small d under the date. Additionally, the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins for collectors marked with an S. So there are 3 basic types of 1977 pennies: the regular strike from Philadelphia, the D mint mark from Denver, and the S mint mark proofs from San Francisco. Common issues and errors. Most 1977 pennies are quite common and are found in circulation even today. However, certain error coins from this year can be worth a significant premium. Some of the most sought-after errors include double die obverse and reverses. These are coins where parts of the design appear double due to mistakes in the minting process. Another rare error is off-center strikes, where the image is not properly centered and blank spaces appear on the coin. There are also examples of clipped planchets where a piece of the coin is missing because of a minting mishap. If you happen to find a 1977 penny with any of these errors, hold on to it, because it could be worth much more than face value. Market value. So how much is a 1977 penny actually worth today? Well, if you have a regular 1977 penny that you just found in your pocket, it is probably worth about 1 cent to 2 cents because of its copper content. But if you have one that is in pristine uncirculated condition, it can be worth between 10 cents and $2 depending on its grade and visual appeal. For example, a 1977 penny graded MS65 red, meaning it is a mint state coin with a brilliant red color without any wear, can sell for around $10 to $15. If it is an exceptionally high grade like MS67 or higher, prices can jump dramatically, with some examples reaching over $100 at auction. Proof coins from San Francisco, especially those graded PR69 deep cameo, can also fetch a decent price, typically around $10 to $20 or more depending on demand. Now let us talk about errors. A 1977 double die penny, depending on how dramatic the doubling is, could fetch anywhere from $50 to several $100s. Off-center strikes, especially those that are extreme like 50% off-center, can be worth $100 or more depending on condition. Why copper pennies matter. Another thing to keep in mind is that pre-1982 pennies are made mostly of copper, and copper is valuable. With the price of copper rising in recent years, the melt value of these older pennies is more than their face value. However, it is illegal to melt U.S. coins for their metal content, so you cannot legally melt them down, but collectors and investors still hoard copper pennies in anticipation of future changes to the law or for their potential collectible value. Tips for collectors. If you want to start collecting 1977 pennies, or you have a jar full of them at home, here are a few tips. First, check for mint marks. Second, examine the coin carefully under a magnifying glass or microscope to spot any doubling or other abnormalities. Third, look for coins with strong original red color and no scratches, stains, or other damage. Coins with beautiful original surfaces will always command higher prices. It can also be helpful to have your best finds professionally graded by companies like PCGS or NGC if you believe they are in truly exceptional condition. Professional grading can unlock higher market value, especially for rare varieties or mint errors. Final thoughts. The 1977 Lincoln penny is a fascinating piece of American history that still carries value beyond its humble face amount. Whether it is the intrinsic copper value, the historical significance, or the chance of finding a rare error, there are many reasons to love and collect these coins. Even if your 1977 penny is only worth a few cents, it is still a small treasure with a big story behind it. If you enjoyed learning about the 1977 Lincoln penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on coins, collectibles, and treasures hiding in everyday places. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story. Yours might just be a fortune waiting to be discovered. See you next time. Today we are going deep into the fascinating world of coins and history. Specifically, we are talking about the iconic 1981 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. Yes, you heard that right. This small piece of copper can actually be worth way more than just 1 cent today. Stay tuned, because you might just have a small fortune sitting in your pocket or tucked away in an old jar somewhere. Now first, let's start with a little background. The Abraham Lincoln penny has a long and rich history. It was first issued in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. This made it the very first regular issue United States coin to feature a real person's face rather than a symbolic image. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent has become one of the most recognized coins in the entire world. Fast forward to the year 1981. This year is special for a few reasons when it comes to pennies. First, 1981 was one of the last years that pennies were primarily made of 95% copper and only 5% zinc. Starting in 1982, due to rising metal costs, the U.S. Mint changed the composition to mostly zinc with just a thin copper coating. That means a 1981 penny is made of almost pure copper, and just the material alone makes it more valuable than its face value. But there is more. The 1981 Lincoln penny also comes with a story of subtle but important differences that can make some versions worth a lot more money. You see, in 1981 the United States Mint was preparing for some design changes and was working on updating the minting process. As a result, there are two major types of 1981 pennies. These are known as Type 1 and Type 2. What is the difference, you might ask? It all has to do with the appearance of the letters on the back of the coin, particularly the word 1 cent. On the Type 1 coins, the letters have a blockier, thicker appearance. On the Type 2 coins, the lettering is much sharper, thinner, and clearer. Type 2 pennies were meant to be the updated, improved version. Because Type 2 pennies were minted in smaller numbers, they are significantly rarer and more valuable today, especially in high-grade condition. Now you might be wondering, where were these coins made? In 1981, pennies were minted in 3 locations. Philadelphia, which usually does not have a mint mark. Denver, which is marked with a small d, and San Francisco, which is marked with a small s. San Francisco coins from this year were usually proof coins specially made for collectors, with extra detail and a mirror-like finish. Proof coins, especially the Type 2 proof pennies, are among the most valuable 1981 pennies you can find. Some proof Type 2 pennies can fetch hundreds of dollars if they are in perfect condition, also known as PR70, which is the highest grade possible. Now let us talk about the copper value for a second. Since 1981 pennies are mostly made of copper, their melt value is tied to the price of copper. As of now, the price of copper has been quite strong, meaning the intrinsic metal value of a 1981 penny is already above 1 cent. In fact, the copper alone in a 1981 penny is worth about 2 to 3 cents depending on the market. However, it is illegal to melt pennies for their copper content in the United States. So for now, they are worth more intact as collectible items rather than scrap metal. Now moving on to the fun part. How much can a 1981 Abraham Lincoln penny actually be worth on today's market? Well, it depends. Most circulated 1981 pennies are worth between 3 to 10 cents if they are in good condition, mainly because of their copper content. However, if you find an uncirculated coin that has never been used or touched much, it can be worth more. High-grade uncirculated 1981 pennies can sell for anywhere from $1 to $20 depending on the mint and the quality. If you happen to have a proof coin from San Francisco, and especially a Type 2 proof, it gets much better. A proof 1981's Type 2 penny graded PR69 can be worth around $50 to $100. If you somehow have a perfect PR70 example, the value can shoot up to $200 or even more depending on the buyer and market demand. Collectors love perfect coins, and they are willing to pay big money for them. Even small differences in quality, like tiny scratches or a slight loss of shine, can mean the difference between a common coin and a rare valuable treasure. But that is not all. There are also errors and varieties to look out for. Error coins can be worth big money because they are rare by nature. Some examples include double die errors, where the image or letters appear doubled, off-center strikes where the image is not properly centered, or coins that were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the wrong type of metal was used. These error coins from 1981 can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s depending on the severity and rarity of the mistake. How do you know if you have a valuable 1981 penny? First, check the mint mark. Look for an S mint mark, meaning San Francisco. Then check if the letters on the back are sharp and clean, meaning a Type 2 variety. If you have a proof coin with Type 2 characteristics, it is time to get it graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. A professional grading will confirm the condition and authenticity, and it will significantly increase the value if you decide to sell. You should also keep an eye out for coins that look unusual or different. If you see doubling in the letters or Lincoln's face, or if the coin looks misaligned, it could be an error coin worth a lot more than face value. Even if your 1981 penny is not an ultra-rare variety, it is still a smart move to hang on to it. With the price of copper rising and more people getting into coin collecting, the value of these coins will likely continue to grow over time. Plus, they are a piece of history honoring one of the most important figures in American history, President Abraham Lincoln. To wrap things up, the 1981 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny might just be a tiny coin, but it carries a big story. From its mostly copper composition to the special Type II varieties, to rare proof coins and era coins, there are plenty of reasons why these pennies are worth more than just a cent today. Check your coin jars, check your old collections, and you might just discover a hidden treasure. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more amazing coin and history content. Also drop a comment below if you have found any rare 1981 pennies, or if you have any questions. We love hearing your stories and helping fellow collectors.